it going? So today, Benjamin and I are gonna give you a tour of all the fall decorations back here on our back patio. I've actually never, I don't think, decorated this area for fall. I always kind of choose a different spot to decorate every year just because it becomes a lot. So we have an old side of the house and a new side of the house, both which have kind of a formal entry and a back entry. So there's 4 entries to our house. And so every year when I get ready for a new season, I'm thinking, okay, do I decorate all 4 of them or do I just pick one and go all out? So far, I've only really decorated one. Typically, I'll change all my containers over, which is a little bit more simple, but this one I kind of did, like I decked it out a little bit more. I'm starting with these containers right here. So these are the estate square containers. I can't remember the name of them exactly, but I did spiff them up with a little quick layer of black spray paint because they did get quite dirty and stained from water, which is typical every single season. I come out here and give them a quick once over and it makes them look brand new. I planted these pine lollipops this spring with all intentions, every intention of moving them out for summer containers and putting a grass in, but I really liked the structure up here and they've done really well. So I just left them here and I like the structure in the winter. So down below I've got 3 ornamental cabbage. These are Osaka Red. I've got, this is strawberry blonde marigold, which they kind of like evolve in color. They're beautiful. We've got a Dusty Miller here. There's Dichondra Silver Falls. This is an Evergold, I think is the name, Carex. And then a few solar flare pansies. So I just kind of decked this container out. There is a second one over here on this side and there's Russell. So we've got both of these flanking containers matching, which I think looks nice. The fun part about this entryway is that it is on the east side of the house and it's protected from all the wind because most of the wind comes in from the west. So I can do stuff up here and really not have to worry about it falling over unless we get a horrible storm. And I decided not to do anything at the base of these beams because our sidewalk right here is kind of narrow through here, narrow-ish. When I have my garden cart, if I put anything on the sidewalk, I have to go over into the mulch and I didn't really want to have to do that. So as we go in here, you can see I kind of start explaining where I started decorating. So the first thing I did was I dismantled the window boxes. We had some chocolate drop coleus in there, some surefire rose begonias, wild berry heucheras, I mean just a bunch of beautiful stuff, most of which I was able to pop out and pot up. So all of the heucheras I put in individual nursery pots and they're in my greenhouse. I'm going to let them kind of sit there for a little bit and then I may put them out in the landscape this fall yet. I've got some Amazon Miss Carex that are potted up. Over here I haven't even moved them out, but over here I've got surefire rose begonias and chocolate drop coleus in containers that I will move inside. But they all did really well. And then I replaced them with Croton. In fact, let's move closer to one. Why don't we come this way? Oh, he's going to bring a squash. You want to come this way, buddy? Did you grow that squash? Yeah? Okay, so in the window boxes, I did 5 Crotons, which you usually find in the houseplant section because they are a tropical houseplant. They typically don't like to be, you know, down below freezing, but a lot of our fall annuals or annuals don't really like to be below that anyway, and this is so protected that typically when I use these in a fall container, they still last for me for quite a lot of the season. And I just make sure to keep them nice and moist, and they provide such amazing color. I mean, just look at that fall color, just in that one plant. So I wanted to fill up the rest of this with just kind of some bulky stuff. So I used Osaka White ornamental cabbage. These are 4. And then there's some Osaka Reds just in the 4-inch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I popped a yellow pansy here and there. And the duckfoot ivy was here throughout the summer. So I left all the ivy in the boxes. And I like to be able to utilize, so I didn't have to buy new spillers. But the pansies, cabbage, and the ivy should do really well all through the season. The only one that won't make it like through really cold fall and early winter are the Crotons, in which case I'll pop those out and put some branches in here, or maybe nothing. I may not need to use anything, but I think they turned out really pretty, and I'm just noticing that I overflowed it a little bit when I watered it. A little dirty. The next thing I did, other than cleaning, I had a ton of cleaning to do up here. He found another one. It's the cutest thing. I had those little festinata urns, I think is what they were called. They were black little urns with boxwood cones. I took those up and capped the drip system that I had running to them. So I just cut the drip system and put a little plug in. And I had to scrub the underneath them because I didn't put a saucer under them. So I used magic erasers. Thanks, baby. Give one to Daddy. That's the best part of gardening now, is watching his wonder over everything. So I poured the vinegar on kind of the square spot that the urn left, and I just let it sit for like 10 minutes and used the magic eraser. Most of it came off, and I'm sorry you can't see it, but it looked pretty much like this stone. I was really happy about that. It was something I didn't really think about. And then I went ahead and made this little swag. This is all naturals. In fact, I didn't use any faux anything up here. It's all natural stuff. A lot of it came from my own garden, which is fun. I started by putting some of those little cup hook things, like they have a screw end and then that little hook. I put 4 of those right above the molding into the wall. And then I just used paddle wire to wire some flexible branches up there in kind of a nice swoopy pattern. And I used grapevines that I took the leaves off of and Scarlet Curls Willow, which I took the leaves off of. And that was kind of my base structure. And then these right here are off of our Chinese rain tree. I harvested these like a couple months ago and they dried green. And then you can see the brown ones are what they look like on the tree right now. And I thought that that was really pretty just to use the 2 of those together. And I really didn't want to put too much in this little swag. I kind of wanted to keep it on the simple side. There are some firelight blooms up there. And I also have a couple of quick fire blooms that are, I think they're more toward the center here. They're a little bit more sparse blooms. But to keep these firelights, like to get them to dry looking like this instead of wilting, I put them in those little floral vases, like the little green ones. They probably have a proper name, but you put like an individual stem down in it. And so they should be able to drink up that water and dry naturally on their own like that. And that's typically what I do. I usually, if I cut my hydrangeas, I put them in just like an inch or 2 of water and let them drink that up. And then by the time they've drunk that up, they can just dry and they'll maintain their color and look really nice. So anyway, that's all there was to the swag. It was really quite easy to make. And then I swapped out my wreaths. I had some just boxwood wreaths up here, and I put these walnut wreaths up, which these are actually, they belong to my mom. My mom and I made matching pairs of these walnut wreaths at the same time, like we sat at their dining room table, hot glued walnuts to a twig wreath form. And mine has since, it's fallen apart because I had it on at our last house on the front door. It was full sun and it like melted the glue and the walnuts would just fall all over the place and it eventually fell apart. So I borrowed these from her, and that's what we do. Like we borrow stuff from each other all the time so we don't constantly have to store everything and or buy everything. So it's nice to share. And then you always feel like you have new stuff. Do you need some help, babe? Yeah, what's up? Do you want to pick that up? You want help up? There you go. Why don't you use the one with the longer stem? Can you get it? Okay. So anyway, I did count. I estimated that you would need approximately 260-ish walnuts to make one wreath this size. And we have somebody in our area that sells huge bags of walnuts for $20 a bag. And you can usually get at least 1, if not like 1.5 wreaths out of that 1 bag of walnuts. And then you get your $3 wreath for them. And so you're only in it like less than $25 for 1 wreath, and then they last forever. So it was really nice of my mom to let me borrow those. The next thing was my mat, which I've talked about before. I bought this on Amazon because we have the drip tubing running right underneath it, and we needed a way to hide it, and I actually really love it. It turned out perfect. And then I put 2 big bales of straw, which I got those for $6 a piece, the big ones. And then the little ones I got at Joann's for about the same price, I think. I had 1 left over from last year, so I had to buy 3. And just kind of created just a fun little fall kind of look on either side. I went out to a local farm stand and picked up most of the pumpkins. I grew some of them, like the acorn squash, and I think Benjamin's carrying the little baby one over there. I had some fabric here. I have a couple of the autumn colors Rudbeckia, which are actually still in their nursery containers. I just wrapped them in a burlap sack and put them down in this really cute galvanized pot right here. So I think that's a good look. And these are a zone 5, so I'll be able to pop these out in the landscape a little bit later. But I really wanted to keep the amount of maintenance to a minimum up here, because at this point of the year, like, I don't want a bunch of maintenance. I'm kind of tired of that for the year. So we'll only have to come up and check on 2 plants every day. Everything else is on drip, the window boxes and the estate planters. And then would you like to get up there? Oh, did they all get up there? Here. There you go. You can sit with your squash. So cute. And then this right here is the Ambrosia corn that I grew in our garden. So I seeded it July 8th, and we actually I got about 30 ears of corn off of it that were great. They filled pretty much all of them were filled all the way to the top of the cob. And then I just harvested the corn stalks. They didn't get as tall as they would have had I planted them earlier on. And I usually like to leave them in the garden until they're fully dry before I bundle them up like this. And you can see that these still are green, which is fine. They just get a little bit more flat, and that's like all the corn stalk bundles that I see for sale, like at grocery stores or whatever. They're always like so tattered and flat looking, and I'm kind of like, I'm getting a little bit of that vibe with these, as opposed to if you let them grow in your own garden and just sit there and dry. They're like these beautiful, full, gorgeous corn stalks, and you only need like a handful of them to make a really big looking bundle, because they're just, there's nothing flat about them. I don't know how else to explain that. But I'm really excited about this area. I don't think there's anything else I missed, except for I did clean the benches, which they don't get that very often. And I had a couple of baskets on hand that I used the rest of the corn stalks in. I just cut them shorter and kind of split them between the two and just put them in there instead of putting more plants. So anyway, I think that this has a really fun fall vibe to it. Of course, it'll look a little more full when I get my autumn acorn squash back up in the display. Uh-oh. That's no good. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I think we are going to tackle maybe a couple of smaller areas for fall, but it was really fun to do this area and kind of do it up and just have it look so cozy and so festive. In fact, Benjamin and his cousins are all going to have their picture taken right here this coming weekend. We're making it a fall tradition to do a picture every single fall with all the cousins so we can see their growth. Like this year, he has a brand new baby girl cousin who's, I think, how much younger is she than him, Aaron? 9 months younger? Yeah, she's like 9 months younger than Benjamin. So she'll be a new addition in this picture. So it'll be so fun to see how they grow through the year and have all the fall festivity kind of behind them in all the pictures. So anyway, I'll probably share a picture of that on Instagram when we get that taken this weekend. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it inspired you and motivated you. And I would love to see what you're doing on your patios, by your front door. So tag me on social media, on Instagram especially. I usually check all of those and I get to see what kind of fun stuff you guys are all doing. So anyway, thanks again for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Bye. You want down? Oh, you want to stay with your squash? Here. I'd feel a little bit better if you were back here. There we go. You want a pile?
See?
Yeah. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Uh-oh.